The legend begins. Atlantis was supposed to be a city of gold, wisdom, and power. A perfect place, built by people who were way ahead of their time. And then it just disappeared. Most say it sank because of some natural disaster. Others think it was just a myth, a story made up to scare or inspire. But what if Atlantis didn't vanish by accident? What if it was hidden? What if they buried it because they had to? Not to protect themselves, but to protect the rest of the world. Project Aegir. In 2013, a small group of underwater archaeologists put everything they had into a mission they called Project Aegir. It wasn't some flashy government-backed operation. It was led by Dr. Elias Voss, a marine historian who had spent most of his career being laughed at for believing Atlantis was real. Along with him were Sophia Reyes, a deep-sea engineer, and Mark Petrov, a robotics specialist who could fix anything. They set their sights on the Azores Plateau, a strange chain of underwater mountains in the North Atlantic. According to some old maps, this was the place Atlantis might have once stood. Most people didn't take them seriously. Some said they'd find nothing but volcanic rock and cold water. Others said they were chasing a fairy tale. Even some of the team had their doubts, but still, they went. And against every expectation, they found something that shouldn't have been there. The discovery. It was on the third week of the expedition that everything changed. They were scanning the ocean floor about 800 meters down when Sophia noticed something strange on the sonar, a shape that didn't belong. At first, Dr. Voss thought it was just another rock formation. The Azores are full of them, twisted by volcanic activity. But as the team steered the drone closer, the outlines sharpened. They weren't looking at random rocks. They were looking at a structure, massive slabs of stone arranged in perfect circles. Long, wide staircases cut right into the seabed, towering pillars, some still standing upright, even after thousands of years underwater. Mark was the first to say what everyone was thinking, his voice tight over the comms. That's not natural. And he was right. As the drone floated closer to the heart of the ruins, the cameras picked up something even more unsettling. The place didn't just look ancient. It looked occupied. There were shadows moving between the pillars, shapes that didn't line up with the ruins. Whatever had been left behind, it wasn't entirely gone. The vault. They knew they had to send the robot in. There was no other choice. The wreckage was too big, too deep for the team to safely dive and explore. They used Athena, their custom-built remote robot, to go in first. It was equipped with high-definition cameras, a set of lights, and enough sensors to map out a whole city if it had to. The team watched from the control room as Athena slowly maneuvered through the ruins, passing by broken pillars and shattered stone walls. Then it reached the center, and there it was, a temple. It didn't look like the rest of the ruins. The stone was dark, almost black, and the architecture was too precise, too sharp to be natural. Dr. Voss was quiet for a moment, his eyes glued to the screen. In the heart of the temple stood a door, a sealed black stone door, slick with something that didn't look like natural sea grime. The camera zoomed in, catching the strange red carvings etched deeply into the stone. Sophia's voice came through the comms, shaky. "Look at those marks. They're not just decorative. That's something else." The carvings were unlike anything they'd ever seen before. They weren't ancient symbols. They were too raw. One in particular caught everyone's attention. It showed a human heart, dripping blood into a bowl. No one spoke for a long time. The silence was deafening. Even Mark, who never let anything faze him, was still. The air in the control room felt colder. They all knew this was no ordinary discovery. This was something ancient, something dangerous. The blackout. They opened the door. Suddenly, the live feed from the robot stopped. For 7 minutes, there was nothing but silence. When the video came back, the robot was missing. In the background, there was a faint whisper. The Chamber of Blood. The next day, Nina Torres and 2 other divers descended into the vault. The air was thick, and the silence of the deep ocean was oppressive. As they entered, the walls caught their attention. They were covered with mirrors, but not normal mirrors. These twisted their reflections, bending them unnaturally. "I don't like this." Sophia's voice crackled in their earpieces, sounding uneasy. At the center of the vault, they found a stone basin. It wasn't filled with sand or water. It was filled with blood, thick, dark, and warm. "Is it fresh?" Nina whispered, staring at the blood. The metallic scent hit them, sharp and overpowering. It felt wrong, too recent. Breaking the seal. As the divers stood frozen, a voice echoed through the water. It wasn't from their comms. It was something else. "You broke the seal," panic set in. The team rushed back to the surface, but only Nina made it. She was shaken, barely able to speak. Before she died from the shock, she whispered a single word: "Thalason." The Forgotten God. After Nina's death, the team dug into old texts and myths. They uncovered stories about Thalason, a forgotten sea god. Thalason was said to be half human, half sea creature, a being of darkness. In ancient times, people would offer blood sacrifices to him. He was feared for his endless hunger, a hunger that never ceased. Atlantis was not destroyed by a disaster. It was buried to trap something inside. Now, after thousands of years, something is waking up under the sea. Subscribe or Thalason will hunt you down.